Simo is one of the hardest characters to rank within the entire Record of Ragnarok story. He is a certified GOAT who faced Loki in Round 11, a fight that is now over, and the White Death himself claimed victory against all odds, and without a doubt did it in the most one-sided way for humanity thus far. I would still say Thor had the easiest victory in the official Ragnarok tournament, at least the most one-sided based on his end of fight injuries, but Simo was only damaged by Loki himself in the final clash, with the rest coming from the effects of his Valkyrie ability. Therefore, today I'll be fully breaking down how strong history's greatest sniper really is, and outlining which fighters would win and lose against this mad lad. Therefore, this brings us to his introduction, where Brynhilde says after talking to Loki and ensuring he's fighting next for the gods, that in all of Valhalla, there is no god as cunning as Loki, and in all of human history, there is only one man who could hope to defeat you. This man may be human, but he has earned the name, the White Death, highlighting to us that Simo since the very start was likely chosen as humanity's fighter for the sake of defeating Loki, and that's what he absolutely did, and in style as well. Then during his walkout, we get reminded of his battle in World War II where he earned this title. Various outlines that he indeed has 100% accuracy, something that remained true throughout his entire fight with Loki, and that bro is without a doubt the greatest sniper in human history. However, this is where we also get the first controversial thing about this fight. It took place in the forests of Finland, something that innately would give Simo an advantage in every 1v1 matchup, but a common theme throughout this fight is the various gods saying that Loki would only allow such a thing if it gives him an insane advantage as well, meaning there was a lot of planning going into it. You could say this relates to his copy ability and of course shared vision between all of the clones as well, but in the end, when it comes to later matchups in today's video, it's going to be a similar situation to Jack the Ripper, where Simo is definitely stronger and at his best when fighting in this arena, but in some other ones it may not be the case, but I'll be breaking that down later on in today's video. Now it's required to break down Simo's fighting style and his Valkyrie ability, exactly what allowed him to defeat Loki in this fight. So his pathway to harm the gods is different to every other human so far in the tournament. His Valkyrie Volund gives him the ability to sacrifice or transfer an organ of his body into his gun, the bullet he will then shoot, meaning it requires an immense sacrifice, but the result is quite wild. For example, throughout his fight against Loki, he unleashed 4 bullets to claim victory. The first one I would say was probably the most impressive in the entire fight, the scatter shot, which took out a large amount of Loki's clones and pretty much shocked everyone watching the fight at that point. Absolutely wild, and is definitely one that would work best in really any arena or situation. Apart from that, the next one was more so a piercing shot, showing that defensive means may not work that well against Simo. For example, Loki used a copy of Odin, Thor and Hercules to try and block it, all getting pierced. Then a summoned weapon, likely a divine weapon that Loki has touched in the past, and once again it went right through, with Simo landing a headshot on the clone of Loki in that situation. Then the last 2 were more so quick and insanely precise, Simo landing a direct shot in the heart. Yes, there's circumstances around where that bullet went due to Loki scheming, but his accuracy was a main part of his character and never fell off throughout. Then the final bullet with insane speed, which was indeed a headshot, and for what we know at the current minute was in fact the killing blow. So every time Simo unleashed a bullet, he pretty much shocked every human and god watching. He did highlight some impressive speed showings, but this is also a controversial aspect of Simo's power scaling within the Record of Ragnarok verse, as we actually got numbers for the bullet speed and other things as well. For example, the narrator claims that a single fired bullet was moving twice as fast as the speed of sound, So compared to the best speed feats in Record of Ragnarok, this is absolutely nothing. Likewise with the final chapter and finale of the fight, where yes, it seemed like it was going insanely fast and it was impressive, but compared to a lot of other things we have in Record of Ragnarok, it's really nothing. But this is more in the path of, I guess, the regular power scaling things. We all know most stuff in regards to that doesn't really correlate that much with Record of Ragnarok and how strong the characters are. It's more so the narrative and abilities provided within the story itself. And when you consider the narrative, Simo has a lot going for him thanks to Loki. For example, he was outright compared to Odin and Thor, where it's claimed that he stood shoulder to shoulder with Thor and Odin in terms of strength during his flashback. Something when argued about could potentially place Simo in the S tier, as Odin is literally the main villain of the entire Ragnarok story, showed confidence in 1v2ing Beelzebub and Buddha, and most people agree that Thor is around the S tier as well and is insanely powerful. Speaking of that, during his flashback as well, we did see Loki steal Thor's hammer and escape while carrying Brunhilde as well, so a low-key insane feat in that regard as well. And the fact that Simo dominated the gesture, who from most other gods' accounts isn't the most powerful when it comes to like raw strength, he's a more so monster when it comes to tactics, and Simo outright overcame those with no real issues at all. So bro is absolutely goated, but also limited with the amount of information to really range him within the Record of Ragnarok story so far. So let's have a look at who he may be able to defeat and the characters he would probably lose against based on what we know. So imagining he's fighting once again the forests of Finland, I do believe he defeats Jack the Ripper, Raiden, Hercules and Zero with not that much trouble at all. They don't really have a means to get past his sniper abilities and potential insane accuracy resulting in a one-shot on them. When it comes to fighters, I believe he has a higher chance of defeating rather than losing. Those include Arjun, Leonidas, who may have some arguments considering his defensive shield, but I personally doubt it, Lu Bu, Shiva, and this is the group I'll probably place the likes of Loki in considering his performance. Yes, it was mostly one-sided, but that may be due to the arena. However, I do think Simo's matchup with Loki did favour him in many aspects, connecting back to Brunhilde's claims about Simo being the only one in all humanity who would be capable of putting the gesture down, which he indeed did. When it comes to characters, I believe that could more so go either way, or perhaps slightly in Simo's favour. We have Susanoo, Okita, Hades, Huang, Poseidon, and Sasaki. Yes, you can very well argue any of these characters would stomp Simo, but the other way around as well. Then characters that I do believe are more favourable of defeating Simo: Apollo, Tesla, Thor, Beelzebub, Buddha, Adam, Zeus, and any other characters you would rank in the higher tiers from Apocalypse or who may be fighting in the future as well. So if I was to place him on a tier list for an example, probably around the A tier. It really depends where you rank Loki. You could very well place Loki in the A tier as well, and that could provide an argument for Simo in the S tier, but due to the limited nature, we can't say for certain, and if he's not fighting in Finland, let's say a small arena, someone like Poseidon, due to his speed feats, may be way too much, but we can't say for certain. Hope you enjoyed, shout out to the members, that's it guys, peace.